So, needless to say, I'm pretty geeked, right? I have all the time in the world to work on this business, and I'm ready to get it going. We're going to build a studio so I don't have to pay for studio time anymore, which is actually a benefit. Because a lot of times when I was recording music myself, the studio was a big financial burden. So now we're going to build my own studio so we can record all the time. But in the meantime, I'm also looking to create our first movie. And that's actually exciting to me too, because I wanted to make a movie as well. And as I said previously, not focusing on just one particular project, I think was the beginning of the end for me. It wasn't the best strategy to go in and say, hey, let's create an album, let's make clothing, and let's, go ahead and build a studio. So I originally, when I first got laid off or fired, I went and bought cameras because I needed cameras to document everything. And I got some pretty decent cameras at the time. The one thing about cameras are, they kind of depreciate over time. They're like brand new cars, right? As soon as you get one, they're not going to be the same amount of money as when you originally bought them. So I got cameras, and my idea in the beginning was, let's create the clothing line while we're building the studio. And I thought I had a pretty unique way of developing the clothing line. I said, what we'll do is we'll find artists that will help us create the clothing line. And then we will document everybody that, does it. We'll draw, or whether drawing or whether doing graphic art, whatever their process is, we're going to document that. Then we're going to make YouTube videos to show the process of how our clothes are being generated and made. And this was a good idea to me. I thought it was clever marketing. It gets an origin story for every piece of clothing that comes out. And then me and my cousin, G13, we're going to go do an album. So I personally think that music is kind of dead at this point. I hate to say it, but the music business is kind of in a weird market or saturated. But at that time, I think that was kind of the beginning of it, right? So I still in my head actually think that creating an album will help generate some income, even though it's streaming. So what happens is I think that streaming is valuable to the record companies, but not necessarily to an artist, even if you own your music. But I think that this album that me and my cousin are going to create is going to help generate some income and help get the business flowing. And we're on tour, so we're going to basically record the album, we're going to promote it, we're going to run it that way. We're going to go on tour, we're going to go ahead and let people know the album's out. We're going to go ahead and try and generate some, interest in it while we're doing the clothing as well. And we're going to take our clothes, our merch on tour, and we're going to let people know that, hey, this design was designed this way, and you can check it out on YouTube. You can also buy our music, or stream it, because nobody's buying music nowadays. But I'm thinking you can stream it. We're going to get a lot of sales, not knowing that even if you get 300 million sales, it's probably going to be a handful of dollars. It's not going to be very much. I mean, it'll be significant, but not enough to run a music company on, because we don't own any of the process. And I'm building my studio. We're getting the website done because I want to be able to distribute all the content through the website as well as the YouTube. I do want to build the YouTube channel in the beginning, but we're going to go ahead and build our own website so you can download and watch our movies while my daughter's just been born and I'm a new dad and trying to take care of the family. Needless to say, I was over my head, because each one of those projects are different businesses in themselves. Like the music business, the making the CD, that's a different business. The merch and the clothing line, that is also a different business. And building the studio, not saying that I didn't utilize the studio. I thought it was really great to have my own studio, record anytime I wanted, even if, G13 wanted to record, or sometimes I would book the session to other people and get a little bit of side money there. Not always a lot, but it was a little bit of side money. So the studio wasn't terrible. But that in itself is a different business. Like running a recording studio for other people, that's another business. And I'm not business planning for everything. I'm trying to incorporate this under one umbrella, and this is not working. Not only am I spending more money than I'm bringing in, but I'm not generating enough money to keep the business flowing how it needs to flow. And that was kind of the start of things that were going to end for me.